So I don't think they ranked them 25-1. I think it's kind of a random order, which I kind of like. I'm good with that. All right, but the 25 best players in Nebraska football history. This is just the order they have it. Sam Francis, running back.
Okay.
It says 1934 through 1946. That must be a typo. It's probably either 34 through 36 or 44 through 46. Can you just look that up real quick? All right, one of Nebraska's first true collegiate sports stars. Francis was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy in 1936, was a two-time Big Six champion during his time in Lincoln, All-American as well. You go on next, as it's listed. This is 1946 to 1949. No need to Google that. Tom Novak was a center and a linebacker. Quite the combo right there. All right. The first of two Cornhuskers to have his uniform number retired, number 60, was retired by the school. Is the only four-time all-conference selection in the history of the Nebraska program, nicknamed the Train Wreck. All right. And they give the Tom Novak Native Son Award every year at the Nebraska Team Football Awards as well. So that's named after him, obviously. Bobby Reynolds, running back, 1950 to 1952, also known as Mr. Touchdown, a Heisman Trophy finalist in 1950. All right. Has one of the top 10 highest rushing totals in school history. Bob Brown. Not enough people remember Bob. All right, Bob joins the Tom Novak as another Cornhusker to have his jersey retired, number 64 by the school, a unanimous All-American in 1963. A physical presence, intimidating, also in the College Football Hall of Fame. Played defense as well, 49 tackles and an interception. So, I believe it was Bob. I'm confident enough in that statement to say that he came and talked to our team in the early 2000s. And, man, he got fired up. He all but challenged any defensive lineman in the room to do Oklahoma drill with him in front of everybody right then and there. And then one of our starters on offense had been dealing with turf toe for like a month. So out of nowhere, he kind of goes, and what is turf toe? What is that? Did you get a little boo-boo on your toe or something like that? I was like, oh, wow. It was Corey Ross. Corey was sitting in the front row, and he just got, dude, he was like, you could tell he was embarrassed. But I've never had turf toe, but I've heard it's actually extremely painful. But Bob definitely made an impression on me. Another guy that came and talked to a team that reminded me, like, similar era, similar demeanor, similar aura when they spoke to us was when I was with the Rams, Deacon Too Tall Jones came in. He basically was like the same thing. And he was the guy that coined the term sack. He was the first guy that coined the term sack. And it was funny because it was like he all but challenged all the offensive linemen. Like, let's go. This dude's like in 85. But like just the attitude and the demeanor and the toughness and the mental approach that those guys had from that era. I wasn't alive then, and I still miss it. All right, Bob Newton, offensive tackle, 1969 to 1970. I'll pick this up just a little bit. Larry Jacobson. All right, 1969 to 1971. I see him all the time at Husker games. Former players, events. Just the nicest dude ever. The undisputed star of Nebraska's black shirt defense to help the Cornhuskers win back-to-back national championships in 70 and 71. The two-time All-American was the first Nebraska player to win the Outland Trophy in 71. Presented to the nation's top interior lineman when he recorded 73 tackles, including 28 solo and 12 tackles for loss. That came the season after Jacobson posted 49 tackles, 33 solo, 9 tackles for loss, 3 fumble recoveries. We were at the actual Outland Trophy ceremony in January in Omaha, and Zach Wiegert was there. But we already knew the winner. They were just presenting him, the Texas offensive tackle, who was a top 10 pick come April. But the semifinalists were announced earlier in December. And Larry was there. And I'll never forget Bob Mancuso, who kind of runs it. I actually interviewed him right before the Outland Trophy ceremony last year. Said, oh, by the way, we actually have an Outland Trophy winner, and it was Larry Jacobson sitting right there. So he's like one of the nicest dudes ever. Rich Glover, 1970, 1972. Became the first Nebraska player to win both the Outland and the Lombardi Award. All right. He also finished third in the Heisman Trophy voting while recording 100 frickin' tackles, including 52 solo tackles and 9 for loss. By the way, he was teammates with Larry Jacobson. Can you imagine that? In 70 and 71, you have 2 Outland winners right there. 2 unanimous All-Americans right there. By the way, Willie Harper out on the edge, another All-American. One guy wins the Outland and the Lombardi. Sue finished 4th in the Heisman. Glover finished 3rd. And you know who finished first that year. Who finished first?
72?
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah, it was Johnny. Oh, speaking of Willie Harper, you have 3 of the 25 greatest players in the history of Nebraska football all on one D line in 71. All right, 95 or 71 Nebraska. Who wins? Jake. I mean, you see what's going on here.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
Don't duck the question.
I'm ducking the question.
Okay. I'd ask Terrell, but he might be a little bit biased. Ask Terrell later. I just want to see what he says. Send me the clip. Willie Harper, defensive end, 70 to 72. All right, let's see. Earned various All-American honors in 71 and 72. Was named Big 8 Conference Sophomore Lineman of the Year. Let's see what else we got here. A whole bunch of stuff you can go through. All right. Johnny Rodgers needs no introduction. Heisman Trophy winner. Rodgers has a spot on the Mount Rushmore of Nebraska football. Is considered among the greatest offensive players in college football history. Known for many things, including the punt return for a touchdown in the game of the century versus Oklahoma. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. Again, the man needs no introduction. Neither does this guy, Dave Remington, 1979 to 1982. Literally, the Remington Award is named after him. Remington was the second Cornhusker to win both the Lombardi and Outland Trophy. In fact, Remington won the Outland Trophy in 1981 and 82. Twice. For those who may have missed that, twice. And he won the Outland and Lombardi. And the Remington Award is literally named after him. Remington and Orlando Pace are the only 2 players in college football history to win the 2 awards a combined 3 times. He was also named the UPI Lineman of the Year in 82 when he finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy race. Remington's perfect combination of size, speed, strength led to a guy who ended up in the College Football Hall of Fame. Do you know who the only offensive lineman? I've had this stat in my back pocket for years. And it's not Remington.
Dave Remington.
But let me see here. About 10 years, that'll give it away. I'm just going to ask the question. It's not Remington. The only offensive lineman in college football history to win the Offensive Player of the Year award for their conference was a Nebraska guy. Do you know who it was? And somehow, I don't think he's in this top 25 list, by the way. Although I just briefly scanned it this morning. So we'll see if I saw that right or not.
Steinkühler?
No. There's only been 2 true freshmen who...
Will Shields?
Yes, Will Shields.
There it is.
Only 2 true freshmen who've ever started game 1 of their freshman year, Dominic Raiola and Will Shields. All right, next up, Irving Fryar. Number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft in 1984. Nebraska has tremendously been a run-first program, but when the Cornhuskers were throwing the ball in the early 1980s, notably by Turner Gill, it was usually headed in the direction of Irving Fryar. Consensus All-American, setting career highs of 40 receptions, 780 receiving yards. You got to remember the era this was, too. Over 1,000 yards receiving. It was the number 1 overall pick by the New England Patriots in 1984 NFL Draft. Dean Steinkühler, 80 to 83. After another winner of both the Lombardi and Outland Trophy, Steinkühler received both in 1983 when he was also named UPI Lineman of the Year. 275 pounds. All right. Mike Rozier, 81 to 83, Heisman Trophy winner. And the person who wrote this article said there's certainly a case to be made that Rozier is the greatest player in the storied history of Nebraska football. To me, he's on the Mount Rushmore. Rozier, who played his freshman season at Kansas Junior College, is the school's all-time leading rusher, 4,780 yards. He gained 2,148 of those yards during the Heisman Trophy season. This was back without a college football playoff, no conference title games. He had 11-game regular season, so he played 12 total games with a bowl game involved. Think about that, too. He's still the school's all-time leading rusher. 4,780 yards. And gained 2,148 of those yards during his Heisman Trophy season, which, again, was 12 games. All right. The consensus All-American also ran for a school record 29 touchdowns. Rozier's 49 career rushing touchdowns ranked 2nd all-time in Nebraska history. Oh, Will Shields is on here. Thank God. That would have been an abomination if he wasn't. Somehow I missed him when I scanned this earlier today. Will Shields carried the Nebraska tradition of great offensive linemen into the 90s. Let's not forget the Fumble Rooski Part 2. Part 1 was Stein Cooler. Part 2 was Will Shields. Was that versus Colorado or Oklahoma? Do you remember?
I don't remember. Let's look it up.
And again, he was the first Nebraska offensive lineman to ever start his first game as a true freshman. Dominic Raiola was the second. They were the only two. He's also one of 6 Cornhusker linemen to be named a 3-time all-conference performer after making an impact in 9 games as a true freshman. A big deal at Nebraska. Shields was the first Cornhusker sophomore since Dave Remington to earn first-team All-Big 8 honors. Also a college football Hall of Famer. Did you get confirmation?
It's Colorado, yeah.
Okay. All right, Trev Alberts, 90 to 93.
Ooh.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're not.
I'm not. Most people would agree, but
I understand the exit, but the playing career still stands. Before Alberts became the athletic director at Nebraska, oh, wow. Why does he have to lead off with that to start the article? Just go to the playing days, man. All right, he was one of college football's all-time great defensive players. Nebraska's all-time sack leader. Alberts is 1. I think he had like 29. I think Wistrom's there at about 26, 27. He's the only Cornhusker to win the Butkus Award, presented annually to the nation's top linebacker. That came in 93, when he was a consensus All-American, recording 15 sacks, which I believe is tied for a school record in the single season, or it is a school record, tying a school single season record. There it is. If I just keep reading, it answers most of my questions. And 21 tackles for loss. The College Football Hall of Famer is the school's all-time leader. There it is. 29 and a half career sacks. Ranked 4th with 45 tackles for loss. Sometimes I read, sometimes I just talk, and then they blend. Zach Wiegert, another Outland Trophy winner for the Huskers, a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, a 3-year starter at right tackle. Wiegert allowed just 1 sack during his 46-game career with the Cornhuskers. During the 1994 Outland Trophy winning season, the 3-time All-Big 8 performer was credited with 113 pancake blocks. Do we even keep track of those anymore?
I wish.
Oh, God, we should. All right. He was also a UPI Lineman of the Year, consensus All-American, and had his jersey retired by the school. He also finished 10th in the Heisman Trophy voting that year, just FYI. That's not in the article. That's me talking, just to be clear. Tommy Frazier. I'm just going to throw this out there. If Tommy had won the Heisman, would he be known as the greatest college football player of all time? Because a lot of people right now put Tebow up there. There's a lot of guys that go there, but Tebow is probably the one I see most common on the list that people put out there. I think the 2 guys that if they had the Heisman would be like equivalent to Tebow, maybe a smidge above, depending on how you look at it, is Tommy and Vince Young. Tommy had 2. This is me talking, not even reading. 2 national championships, 3 straight major bowl game MVPs, from 2 straight Orange Bowls to the Fiesta Bowl. If he had that, I think it's him, Tebow, and that's the debate for most people.
Yeah.
You can always throw other people in there. Frazier joined Jerry Tagge as the only quarterbacks in school history and among 5 total all-time nationally since the 1950s to lead the team to back-to-back national championships. Frazier accomplished that feat in his final 2 collegiate seasons, despite dealing with health issues in 94. If you couldn't tell, I'm reading now. He rallied the Cornhuskers to beat Miami in the Orange Bowl to claim the national title. The next season, Frazier was a Heisman Trophy. Oh, there it is. Heisman Trophy finalist, which is still awesome. Throwing for 1,362 yards, 17 touchdowns, 4 INTs. Man, look at that touchdown to interception ratio. That's better than 4-1. All right, while gaining 604 yards on the ground with 14 touchdowns, earning consensus All-American and Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year honors. He threw for more than 3,500 yards with 43 touchdowns and ran for nearly 2,000 yards in his career. College Football Hall of Fame, Nebraska jersey retired. Aaron Taylor. Before I even read, it's probably in here. He has one of my favorite stats ever. He's the only Nebraska football player ever to be an All-American at 2 different positions, guard and center. See if it mentions it. In 1997, Aaron Taylor became the 7th different Nebraska lineman to win the Outland Trophy. We have more than any other school, by the way, although Texas has a recent run that I don't appreciate. I appreciate good offensive line play, just not Texas. All right, Taylor also earned All-American recognition in 1996 and 97. I don't want to say they just mentioned, they don't differentiate. He was a starting guard and a starting center. To be an All-American at 2 different positions is so impressive to me. The College Football Hall of Famer is the only Cornhusker to earn such honors at 2 different positions. Taylor started his career at left guard as a sophomore before accepting the task of playing center in the next season. then moving back to guard for his senior campaign. All right. Grant Wistrom, 94 to 97. Wistrom made dominating opposing blockers look easy. One of the greats in the game and a college football Hall of Famer, Wistrom was a major part of those 3 Nebraska national championships, 94, 95, and 97. In addition to winning the Lombardi in 97, Wistrom was a 2-time consensus All-American and Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, both in 96 and 97. He's the Cornhuskers' all-time leader with 58 and a half tackles for loss. That's actually something I did not know. And ranks second with 26 and a half sacks. There we go from earlier. All right, Jake, what are some of the guests that we have from the fine folks at home as far as who's on the list, who doesn't quite make the list, and maybe should be on the list in their opinion? You went 5 for 6.
Yes.
You took some guesses during the break. You went 5 for 5 right out the gate. The 6th one, kerfunkled you just a little bit. Not that he doesn't deserve to be on the list, but I want to see what the texts have to say.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of people feel there might be some obvious ones. A lot of mentions of Sue here.
Yep.
From Ohio Husker, and 0122 says Sue looked like he played against children when he threw them. So there's that. Tommy's guess is Crouch, Green, Sue, Abdullah, David, Prince.
Ooh, very close. Very close. Anybody else got any guesses?
That looks like all the guesses for now.
Okay, so here we go. And if you haven't noticed, it goes by eras. So the next is 98 to 2000, Dominic Raiola. All right, Raiola is the first, and as of 2024 season, the only Nebraska player to win the Remington Trophy. So technically, Dave Remington didn't win the Remington Trophy because it came out after he was done playing. Okay, and that was during the 2000 season, honoring the country's top collegiate center and named for the Cornhuskers legend, Dave Remington. Raiola was the first true freshman Nebraska offensive lineman to start since 1991, which was Will Shields. When his time at Nebraska came to an end, Raiola was a 2-time first-team All-Big 12 selection and consensus All-American. He was also a finalist for both the Lombardi and Outland Trophy. Next up, Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch. All right, Nebraska's most recent Heisman Trophy winner, Crouch, claimed the coveted award in 2001 when he threw for 1,510 yards, ran for 1,115 yards with 18 touchdowns. 11 more touchdowns than he threw that season. All right, for his career, Crouch ran for 3,434 yards, the most by any Nebraska quarterback and the 4th highest total in school history. His 59 career rushing touchdowns are the most by any Cornhusker at any position. Think about that. His 59 career rushing touchdowns as a quarterback are the most by any Cornhusker at any position. Did you know that?
I did.
I did too. I just wanted to emphasize it, okay?
I mean, I didn't then. Great info.
Crouch's 7,915 total yards of offense ranks 4th among all Cornhuskers, a 2-time Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Crouch was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as well in 2020. All right, I'm going to come back because I'm just going to go in order. This is the one you didn't get, but he's Nebraska's all-time career tackles leader too. All right, and one of my former teammates, Barrett Ruud. Let's see, 01 to 04. When it comes to finding the ball carrier, nobody in Nebraska has made more tackles than Ruud. 432. Just wow for a career. Ruud might not be as decorated. This is me reading, to be clear. Ruud might not be as decorated as others on this list, but the effort he gave as a Cornhusker won't soon be forgotten. A first-team All-Big 10 performer. That would have been Big 12 in 2004. Ruud ranks first in school history with 218 solo tackles, and his 16 against Kansas State are still a single-game record. Ruud is among the school's all-time leaders with 50 tackles for loss. All right. Next up, I'm going to shock you. 06 to 09, Ndamukong Suh. When it comes to a memorable individual season in the history of college football, the 2009 performance from Suh remains as one for the ages. Suh led the Cornhuskers in tackles, 85, tackles for loss, 24, and sacks, 12. When a defensive tackle leads you in sacks, that's hard to do. It's harder to get sacks from the inside, tackles for loss, and then he led the team in tackles with 85. That deserves a holy Moses Malone right there. All right. He also blocked 3 kicks and broke up 10 passes. Think about that, 10 PBUs. How many DBs have 10 PBUs in a season? That's crazy. Let's see. As the most dominant defender in the college game at the time, he was named College Football Player of the Year by the AP and won just about every major national award. For his career at Nebraska, Suh is second in school history with 57 tackles for loss and tied for 4th with 24 sacks. All right, next up, Levante David, which is amazing considering he was only here for 2 years. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see him on this list. You said his name when you were guessing and you didn't know the list. To do that in only 2 years. And what's he, about 15 years deep in the NFL now?
Yeah.
Honestly, London Fletcher and Levante David may be the most two underrated NFL football players I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's crazy to me. All right. After David's collegiate career began at Fort Scott Community College in Kansas, he made the most of his 2 seasons with the Cornhuskers. Now, he did something I don't think I've ever seen, but we're going to get to that in a second. If they don't talk about it, I will. David recorded 285 career tackles, the 5th most in only 2 years in school history. Of those tackles, 149 were solo. All right, the 6th most, says 6th mouth in the article, 6th most at Nebraska. 28 were TFLs. In 2010, Nebraska was named Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year when he posted a school record 152 tackles. Then after the Cornhuskers switched conferences, he was tabbed Big 10 Linebacker of the Year 1 season later. That was it. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, the Conference Player of the Year on defense in one conference, the Conference Linebacker of the Year in the other conference, first team all-conference in 2 different conferences back-to-back years. All right. Amir Abdullah, 11-14. Abdullah never received the national accolades like most others on this list, but he certainly left his mark on the Cornhuskers football program. He ranked 2nd in Nebraska history, 4,588 rushing yards, joining Mike Rozier as the only Cornhusker to top the 4,000-yard mark. His 39 rushing TDs also ranks 5th in school history. An all Big 10 first-teamer, Abdullah twice ran for more than 1,600 yards in a season, 13 and 14, an average 24.9 yards per punt return. Can you imagine if we had a guy who averaged 25 yards per punt return right now? And 10.2 yards, this would also be awesome, per kick return while returning 2 for touchdowns during his career. All right, so who are some of the folks that they thought might be left off the list that the Texans thought maybe should be on the list?
There was one thought about Rozier, said usually came out after the second series in the second half. That's from 7518. Bill and Bennett says...
Hold on, saying he shouldn't be on the list?
No, he's just saying he should have had more numbers because he usually came out in the second half. That's an argument for many a Husker.
That makes more sense.
Bill and Bennett says hard to leave Lawrence Phillips off the list for me. I also noticed, was Amon Green left off the list?
Yeah.
That's very surprising.
Anybody else to mention?
Turner, nobody else mentioned it, but Turner Gill would be another one that I could think of. Maybe could be on the list. Alex Henry, the school's all-time leading rusher. Pick your choice between Ralph Brown, Mike. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Adam Carriker.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that last one, even though I know you don't mean it. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're up there.
I appreciate it. Anyone else?
I mean, there's so many good names throughout history.
Prince Amukamara?
Yeah, that could be another one.
I mean, he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
If you are the Player of the Year in your conference, whether it's linebacker, defensive lineman, DB, you didn't catch that, did you?
Mm-mm.
The Defensive Player of the Year, like that's a big deal in your conference. I know we have to go to break. I'm letting that sit out there. You're still not getting it, are you?
I don't. I think I missed it.
That's all right. I feel good about it. Maybe nobody else in the world caught it, but I feel good about it.